Hit it, Phil.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze. It's Jackson time. La-da-da-da.
Stay tuned.
Right after this episode.
For our discussion.
From Television City in Hollywood, the Jack Benny Program with Jack's guest, Phil Harris. Brought to you by Lucky Strike. Get the genuine article. Get the honest taste of a Lucky Strike.
The place, engine room. The cigarette, Lucky Strike. This man's brand because he wants the honest taste of fine tobacco. In Lucky's, he gets it. Sometimes a cigarette is your only companion. In that case, try Lucky Strike. It's mild, but not too mild, with a taste that's fresh, smooth, and unforgettable.
Never was a man who could forget the taste of a genuine cigarette. Get the honest taste a man can like. The honest taste of a Lucky Strike. The honest taste of a Lucky Strike.
Get the genuine article. Get the honest taste of a Lucky Strike.
Well, you'll be on just a few minutes, boss.
I know.
Are you nervous?
No. Why should I be nervous? After all, this is my 9th year on television.
That's right, 9 years.
Just imagine, Rochester. 9 years with Lucky Strike. What are you laughing at?
When your sponsor broke that mirror, he thought you'd only be off for selling.
We fooled him, didn't we?
One minute to airtime. 1 minute.
Well, wish me luck.
Good luck, boss.
Okay.
Good luck. You'll be sure now.
Well.
If the boss knew I could play like that, he'd kill me.
Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Lucky Strike program. You know, I'd give anything in the world if today we were doing our program from New York City, you know, so I could see the World Series, because I'm nuts about baseball. I'm a great baseball fan. Although I did make a bet on the series, you see, with Dennis Day on this World Series, and although I laid him 9-5, I still think I've got a good chance of winning. You see, because I took the Boston Braves, and he took the Los Angeles Dodgers. You know, right now, he's sitting in the Coliseum all alone. I wouldn't have even known about it, you see, except that he called me up to tell me that he sneaked in without a ticket. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks ago, we did our first program of the season, and naturally doing the first, oh, there's an audience, doing the first program of the season, naturally the shows were reviewed by all of the critics, and I have a couple of the reviews here that I would like to read. See, I'm not a ham or anything, but I would like to read these. One of them says here, after a summer of miserable television shows, Jack Benny started his. started his season. I thought Gary Cooper was wonderful on the Benny Show, and I think he deserves any salary the judge awards him. And it goes on saying a lot of other nice things like that, you see. Then I have another review here that says, I always enjoy watching Mr. Benny because he's not only humorous and entertaining, but
You're Mr. Benny?
Pardon?
You're Mr. Benny?
Yes,
I hope I'm not late.
No, who are you?
Well, I was... the Announcers Guild sent me over here.
Oh, the announcer. Oh, for heaven's sake, I forgot all about it. You know, ladies and gentlemen, Don Wilson also couldn't be on this show because he's doing this big show, this big play that's going to open in New York, and he's in Philadelphia right now. It's a big hit, you see. So he wanted to fly over and couldn't make it. So I called the Announcers Guild, and they sent me over this gentleman, Mr. What is the name?
Oh, it's Hunter. Elwood Hunter.
How do you do?
Why won't you...
No. How do you do? Yes, I see. Well, and you're going to do a little commercial.
Well, yes,
Well, go right ahead. Don't be nervous.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel that I owe an apology to someone because when I was given this assignment to come over here and do the Lucky Strike commercial, there was just one thing that I forgot to mention. I don't smoke. No, I don't. No, that could be rather awkward. But I am an observant.
I see.
And being observant, I've noticed that all my friends smoke Lucky Strike.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Isn't that nice? And so being inquisitive as long as observant, if I asked them why, you know what?
What?
They told me.
What?
They said that they smoked Lucky Strikes because a Lucky is the genuine article. It's real tobacco. And it's no nonsense.
No?
Yeah, no nonsense. I kind of like that. I thought that was kind of cute.
That's cute, yeah.
There was kind of another friend of mine. He said he liked the honest taste of a Lucky Strike. And I kind of liked it too because that was strong, you see. And then there was another man. And he said that the minute he took out his package...
Oh, well, naturally, you wouldn't have any. You don't smoke, do you? Oh, well, here.
Oh, well,
here's
thank
some
you
right
much,
here.
Mr.
Just try one. I mean, that's it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Don't be nervous lighting this cigarette.
No.
You'll get that. That's it. No, that's all right. Yeah. Oh.
This friend of mine said that he got so much enjoyment out of Alexa. Say, this is good. This is good. Well, when my friends tell me that a Lucky Strike is mild, but not too much.
No.
And they're unforgettable and all that. They're right, you know.
Oh, yeah.
There's just no doubt about it. There's nothing like the honest taste of a Lucky Strike.
Yeah, the honest taste.
So, I'm not going to give the rest of these back.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
That was the most wonderful commercial, although when he first started, the first thing he said, I thought this would be our last show of the season. Yes. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, right now, I'm really quite thrilled when I present my guest star. Because even though he's been with me for maybe 20 years in radio, this is his first time with me on the Lucky Strike television show. First appearance in about 9 years with me on the Lucky Strike show. And to me, he's without a doubt the most dynamic, the most scintillating...
All right, you can save it, Jack. Save it. You can relax, all you nice people. Now on this show is going to be all downhill. Jackson, we don't need all them words. I mean, one picture is worth 1,000 words, and I am a living Rembrandt. Hey, dolly in on me, Daddy, and let him see those love lines. I feel so firm and fresh.
It's like watching a tennis match.
Oh, Phil.
Larry. Miss America. I mean, what's the idea of prancing? Why prancing?
Promise, Jackson. I promised I was going to do it, and I'm going to go through
I mean,
it.
promise. Who asked you to come
The
out?
president of my fan club, Bridget Bardot.
Why I asked him ever to be on my show?
Why you asked me? You know why you asked me, because the only reason that you want me on your show is because you know that I'm going to create an audience for you with the teenagers. That's why they follow me like the Piper. You know why? Because I've got that beat.
Just hold that forward 1 second. I don't know anything about a beat, but the last time I saw you rocking and rolling, it wasn't from music. Listen, I'm so glad you got back from Palm Springs.
Well, naturally, I mean, I'm going to tell you something. You mean to come in to do your show?
Yeah.
Well, certainly, you're a very lucky fellow, because for me to come in from that little spa in Rancho Mirage takes quite a caper.
Oh, you like Palm
Oh,
Springs?
I'm laid away real fine down there. Ooh, cozy as a bear, plenty of nice little house. Everything is lovely. All got everything going. You know, plenty of stuff. And every evening, all of the people come over, all of my friends, and then along about sundown. Can you hear me, Jackson?
Unfortunately, yes.
We make along about sundown. We make with that barbecue.
Oh, you have a barbecue?
Ooh, and that fire is going all night long.
Fire all night long?
Ah.
Well, what do you do about charcoal, then?
What charcoal? We burn corpse.
I heard it. He's got the only barbecued chicken that gets off the grill and staggers to the plate.
Touche.
That's all you keep saying is, where are you going? Hey, touche. What is that, touche?
What's the matter? You think you're playing with kids? That's French.
I know, Phil. I'm not dumb. I know touche is French. I know it's French. But what would you know about French?
What would I know about French? I told you I'm down there. I got all that casual life and everything. I ain't got nothing to do with myself, you know. So I figured, well, I'm going to better myself, so I go to night school, and out of a clear sky, south. French. Boo-hoo, French.
You go to night school, you go to night school and you take French lessons?
Oui.
And you speak?
Come on, like Thor with that French.
You know, wait a minute. You like, and you can really speak French.
Speak it fluently.
You can.
Yes.
All right. I want to hear one word. I want to hear one sentence in French.
Oh, you want me to give you...
I just want to hear something you've learned in
I'll
French.
do it for you. Here's a little something I'll just come on with for openers. Je mange du mets à la Hongrie.
What does that mean?
I sleep in the inkwell.
Why would you sleep in an inkwell? I mean, you sleep in a bed, on a sofa, on a couch.
Till I learn them, I sleep in the inkwell.
That makes sense from a guy who's been under a hairdryer all day long. I can understand that. Well, look at Phil. I've got a lovely surprise for you.
Oh, you
I
have,
really have.
Jackson?
I got something.
Oh,
You're going to be
gee
thrilled to
whiz.
death. You're going to see all your old boys.
Hey, look at there.
That's
Jack.
right.
Hey, all my old guys. How about that? Oh, Jack. How about that? Oh, yeah, there's old Fletcher, there's old Jimmick, there's old Wayne Mitchell. Hey, Sam. Hey, you're wearing that part way out this season, ain't you? You're coming on like the deacon. Oh, look, there's old Bagby over there. Wait a minute, just because I left, where's Frankie? Who? I'm talking about Frankie Remley. You ain't done nothing with him. Where is he? I want to see Frankie Remley.
Here he is, right here.
Where?
Frankie Remley. This is Remley.
Frank, what have you been doing? You look off. What's the matter? I stopped drinking. When? This morning. Oh, well, then you can still be saved. There you. Now, you put the strings right back on there. Everything's going to be fine. see, Jackson, I'll start him back on light wines, and I'll give him some...
Oh, yeah, well, that'll help, yeah.
Put him in a round room. You're going to be all right, Clyde. I'll take care of you.
See the clarinet player on the end over there, you see, he had a little water on his coat and everything.
Oh, yeah.
He just swam over from Alcatraz. Now, Phil, look at, I didn't bring the boys out here just for you to talk to them. Naturally, the audience are very anxious to hear you sing one of your songs, so how about putting one on?
I got one, Jackson, they'll all love. You
Okay,
ready?
go ahead.
Come with me to Alabama, let's go see my dear old mammy. She's frying eggs and broiling hammy. That's what I like about the South. Now there you can...
Wait a minute, hold it. What are you talking? Wait a minute.
What's the matter with you? You wouldn't stop Harlinking these gypsies, would you?
Listen, come here.
Papa, guy only got started.
Now, wait a minute. You were with me on radio for 20 years. You sang That's What I Like About the South till it came out of my ears and everybody else's.
Well, I've done it right. I wrote the number.
You what?
I'm the composer.
You wrote the number.
I wrote the number.
Well, Phil, if I were you, I wouldn't brag about it. Those are the most ridiculous lyrics that I've ever heard in my whole life.
Well, Jackson, gee whiz, gosh, you hurt me. I don't know what to say when
it's not only my opinion. I'll prove it to you. Those lyrics simply make no sense. I'll tell you what. You want me to prove it to you? You sing the song, and I'll leave it to the audience. I want them to hear these silly, ridiculous lyrics, and that you wrote. I want you to hear these lyrics.
You mean that you don't like the tune? Is that
No,
the idea?
I don't like the
You
words.
wouldn't put a nickel in the jukebox?
No, I wouldn't put a nickel in the jukebox.
Come to think of it, you wouldn't put a nickel anywhere. Me to Alabama, let's go see my dear old mammy. She's frying eggs and boiling hammy. That's what I like about the South. Now,
all right, now wait a minute. Hold it. Hold it. Just 1 minute. Now, Phil, this part, up to now, I can understand. This makes sense. You have a mammy. She lives in Alabama. She's broiling ham and frying eggs. Whatever, frying eggs and broiling
go
ham.
along with this.
I'll go along.
Up to there,
up to there, you're all right. This makes sense. This I'll believe.
Right.
Now, carry on.
Well, there you can make no mistake. Where those nerves are never shaky. Off the taste that layer cakey. That's what I like about the South.
All right. Hold it. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now, this part, I can understand a tiny bit. I can understand this a tiny bit. Somehow or other, your mother in Alabama put baking soda on the ham and eggs, and out came a layer cake.
Layer cakey.
All right. Layer cake. All right, go on. I just want to show you.
Here come old Bob with all the news. Got the box back coat and the button shoes, but he's all caught up with his union dues, and that's what I like about the South. Here come old Roy down the street.
Roy, what happened to Bob?
He was rapping sweet and that's what I like about the South. Did I tell you a place called Do I Did? It ain't no town, it ain't no city. It's awful small, but it's so pretty to do.
Hold it. That's the one. That's the one. That's the one I was waiting for. That's the one I was waiting for. Hold it, everybody. That's the one I was waiting for. Now, wait a minute. That's the one I was waiting for. A little town called Do-a-Diddy. That's all you've been singing, a town called Do-a-Diddy. I want to find out if there's such a town. Just 1 second. Will you lower this down, please? Just lower this down. That's right. Now, just stay at home. That's right. Now, Phil, here's the latest Rand McNally map of the United States. I want you to show me one place in this map where you can find a little town called Do-a-Diddy. I can see Walla Walla. I can see Ashtabula, Rockford, Illinois. I can see my hometown, Waukegan, even Cotton Shoe, Texas. But where in the name of I.W. Harper can you find...
Jackson, I just told you, don't pay attention. I told you where it was.
Where?
Well, pay attention, I'll tell you again.
What?
Where those nerves are never shaky. And no, the layer cakey. It ain't no town, it ain't no city. It's awful small, but awful pretty gonna do. Why,
Bill, I don't want you to describe it. I merely wanted to tell me, is there such a place?
Jackson, what do you think? I'm crazy? It ain't no fig leaf of my imagination. I wouldn't just
That's
say...
big.
Well, I don't care. I wouldn't say whatever it is. I wouldn't say...
Bill, wait a minute. I merely want to ask you one question about this silly song. If doo-wah diddy, if it ain't no town, and it ain't no city, all I'm begging of you is, what is it? Is it a hamlet? Is it a village? Is it a gas station? Is it a home for delinquent purple people eaters? What is doo-wah diddy? I defy you to answer.
You know, I love you when you get mad like that. You know, the blood is almost up to your chin. Actually, Jack, it was right there.
I don't care. We're not discussing my health. There's no town like doo-wah diddy. Those are the silliest lyrics I've ever heard. You're not going to sing it on my show.
Well, Jackson, as long as I'm out here, I can't just stand around acting pretty unless you want me to do a little strip. I mean, I...
No! All I want you to sing some other song.
Jack, I got 100 songs.
Well, let's sing 100. Sing anything but doo-wah diddy.
Bill Jackson was a poor old dump who joined a knockdown poker club, but he cursed the day he told him he was John. Money used to go like it had wings. If he held queens, someone had kings, and each night he would contribute all that cost. He said, I'm gonna play him tight tonight. There be no bobtail blushes make me bite. He said, when I get into my hands, don't be a beat. Played him tight and lost his pile, and Bill got peevish after a while, so he rose, looked all around, and made this speech. He said, y'all see this razor? I had it sharpened just today. Now, I'm coming in with my rules I want you to follow when you play boy. Keep your hands up on the table while you deal, please. Don't be running them aces down there in between your knees. And don't be making them funny signs like you're trying to tip off your hand. Just keep talking in American, boy, so I can understand. And stop getting them off the cotton, because, ooh, it's rough. Take 5, then stop. That's enough. Now, when you put up the chips, because I don't like it when you shy. Then if you go busted, go get something. I'm going to be your by and by. Pass the cards and let me shuffle every time before you deal. Let me look them over because I want to see. I don't know nothing now about no Mr. Harley. You gonna play this game according to me. Sitting right there in that there clan, they chanced to be a one-eyed man, and Bill kept on watching him out of the corner of his eye. No one-eyed dealing then that cost that Bill another 5 or 10. Bill got up and looked all around with his side. Loud, it's an awful shame that someone's cheating this here game because it ain't no do for me to name the guy. So I'll refrain from mentioning the party's name. If I catch him cheating just once again, I'm gonna take his fist, clothes, and other eye. Now, do you see that brand new razor I had it sharpened just today? Now, I'm coming in with my rules that I want you to follow when you play egghead. Keep your bony hands up there while you're giving them out, please. And don't be running them wildies down in there between your knees. And don't keep on making up funny signs. You're still trying to tip off your hands. You better talk an American, boy. Big A, so I can understand. And quit getting them off the bottom. I keep trying to tell you it's rough. It's the Army game. 5, then halt. That's enough. Now, when you bet put up the reds and blues, I don't like it when you shy. Then if you run out of gas, go get pumped up. I'm gonna be here by and by. Pass them pasteboards and let me rip every time before you leave. Let me irrigate around with them, because I love to. I mean, you ain't gonna play this game according to that Mr. Harley. You gonna play this game according to me. Now, Henry, if you break the seal on that new deck of bicycles, we'll get on from here. Yeah.
I can't get over that Bill Harris. Imagine standing in front of millions of people, probably watching the show, singing this. Did you ever hear a town called doo-wah diddy? What lyrics? That other thing. Here come old Roy with all the news, box back coat. I mean, button shoes I can understand. I haven't worn a box back coat in 5 years. Doo-wah diddy, there's no such town.
Oh, hello, boy. How'd the show go?
I don't know, didn't you watch it?
Well, I had to run down to the post office and get a package, and I missed it.
Oh, well, show
It's a birthday present from my aunt.
Oh, well, it's nice. Happy birthday, Rochester. I forgot all about her. Gee, it's nice that your Aunt Alberta sent you a birthday present.
Oh, no. This is for my Aunt Martha, the one that lives way down south.
Oh, I didn't know you had another aunt. Down south there. Where does she live?
Mississippi.
Oh, yeah, what town?
A little place called Do-Wah-Diddy.
Rochester. A little place called what?
Do-Wah-Diddy.
Nothing.
Well, it must be. Your blood is almost to your chin. I'm going to take this package and go out to the car.
Okay. It's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened. I wouldn't blame Phil Harris if he never talked to me again the rest of his life. Well, there's only one thing I can do. Hello? Rand McNally? I'm suing you. Yes, I'm suing you. How could you possibly put out a new map, and not have an important place on it like Do-Wah-Diddy? Yes, Do-Wah-Diddy. It ain't no town, it ain't no city, but it's awfully pretty and it's awfully cute. Yes, Do-Wah-Diddy. Now dancing and listen to me.
Jack will be back with his guest star, Phil Harris, in just a moment. But first, here's a word about the honest taste of a Lucky Strike.
A job well done can be even more satisfying when it's followed by a good cigarette. That's Lucky Strike. Here's the honest taste of fine tobacco. With Lucky's, you never get less. Smoke anywhere, and you'll enjoy the cigarette of fine tobacco. Lucky Strike. The taste is honest. Fresh, smooth, unforgettable.
Never was a man who could forget the taste of a genuine cigarette. Get the honest taste a man can like. The honest taste of a Lucky Strike. The honest taste of a Lucky Strike.
Get the genuine article. Get the honest taste of a Lucky Strike.
Now, once again, I'd like to bring out my guest, Phil Harris. Wonderful being together again after all these years.
Well, Jackson, I want to tell you, I got a big kick out of it. It was one of the most enjoyable benefits I've played all season. Say, they are good, aren't they?
Yes.
But, Jackson, I want to tell you something sincerely. You do not look a day old.
Well, that's awfully nice of you to say that, Phil.
Nice, but difficult.
Well, thanks, Phil. Very, very
Jackson,
good.
have me back again.
I will.
I love you.
All right. You know, this show doesn't need a contract. It needs a liquor license. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, be sure and watch Bachelor Father next week with John Forsythe. And I'll be back in 2 weeks from today when my guests will be Dennis Day and then Jan and Arnie, those two recording artists, and then Marvin, the millionaire Miller, will be with us. So be sure to watch the show, and thank you very much.
Appearing on tonight's program is Howard McNear. Remember, 1 week from tonight on this same station, be sure to do that.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. I'm joined by John Henderson. Hey, John.
Hello.
I also have Kathy Fuller-Seeley with us. Kathy. And this is my first episode back from having my heart attack that some of you heard about, and I'm doing much better, so that's good. And I decided on my first episode back, I'm going to do one that I've wanted to do. It's way out of order from what we normally do. I don't even know when I'm showing this, honestly. You'll see. It might be soon. It might be when it falls in place. But whatever. This is like the holy grail of episodes that we've all been wanting to see, and it hasn't been available. But Laura put it out there on the International Jack Benny Fan Club YouTube feed, and so I thought we'd do an intro for it. This is the Phil Harris episode where it's his only appearance on the regular Jack Benny show and the entire run of the regular show. This same year, he would appear on the Jack Benny's birthday special that they aired. And then the only other time he's with, well, there's two other times we see him with Jack as far as TV goes. One of them is in the 1971, I want to say, special with it's the one right after his 20th anniversary special. I think my guess is that they decided that was too crowded and they wanted to do one with just Phil, so they followed it up with Phil special. He's the main guest on the special and does a great job. He actually does the exact same bit in there that he does on this, though I think he does better on this one. I like this one a lot. And then the other time is during the Friars Club roast of Jack Benny, where we're going to see them both together again. And that's it. That's only the only four that I know of that exist. And we only had 3 of them available. Now we have 4. So it's awesome that we have this. The picture for us is a little blown out in certain places where it becomes kind of hard to see because everything kind of whites out more or less. I think I can fix some of that. So hopefully you'll be going, I wonder what he was talking about. It all looks fine because I was able to fix it. Or if I can't fix it, well, then but it blows out for a while, but then it kind of comes back and gets better. So it'll be fine overall. And just to even have this is fantastic. I'll just draw out there one thing that I just loved was just how bombastic Phil was. I mean, Phil could not stand still, and Jack is just having so much fun with him. This episode was just a delight from beginning to end, in my opinion. The other thing I'll mention is Howard McNear shows up at the beginning of this episode. I don't know if he was on the Jack Benny show other than this. I don't remember him being on. But he probably appeared a few times. Most people did, it seems like.
Yes, it turns out 58, 59, 60, 60, 61, 62, 64.
Oh my gosh. So a lot.
So it comes out in small parts. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So this is, of course, before he becomes Floyd the Barber on the Andy Griffith Show. And this is also, this is during his run at being Doc. What's Doc's last name? But on Gunsmoke, he played the doctor on Gunsmoke, but not Milburn Stone, who plays the doc in the television show. This is the radio show that he's the doctor on the radio show. Which
I was wondering where I recognized his voice from. I was wondering, yeah, okay.
And he's been on a lot of radio. You'll hear him in Suspense, and he's in a lot of everything. And usually he's not the main character. Usually he's like the friend of the main character or a doctor or something like that. But certainly has a huge presence in radio. So it's really nice to see him on this show. And he does a good job. And I like the beginning part with him. And then, of course, when Phil comes on, it's fantastic. But let's go over to Kathy and get her thoughts on what did you think of this episode, and what are your
Well, I completely agree with you, Daryl, that Phil's energy is just so fabulous. I can't believe that he wasn't on TV more. Because he's electric, and so I really enjoyed it. And I also do want to point out um how fascinating both the film Lucky Strike commercial at the beginning of the show and Howard McNear's Lucky Strike commercial are. This is toward the very end. Wouldn't Lucky Strike end about the sponsorship end about 1959? But apparently Lucky Strike sales are really declining because it's an unfiltered cigarette. And I've got to save that commercial at the front, because with lone men stuck on, on ships and trains, and only poor sad men, where it says all is me and my cigarette. And so I'm feeling really bad for these poor lonely guys. And then I almost imagined the old president of Lucky Strike spinning in his grave to have an announcer come out on stage and go, "I don't smoke."
Yeah.
And, but then the genius of having him immediately become addicted and go, "Oh, this is so fabulous." So just as opposed to some of the hard-hitting, obnoxious advertising of the past, these seemed a little desperate and a little fascinating and a little over the top. So I wanted to put in a good word for the latter days of Lucky Strike.
Well, also at the end, isn't Phil smoking a
Yes,
cigarette?
that's right.
And
Yes.
jokes about
He says,
how
these are good or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, that's really different. But this whole episode is different. I mean, Phil just felt unbridled, and
Yeah.
you couldn't tell whether it was scripted or whether it was just him. So much of it felt like it was just him, but I'm not sure. But John, what are your thoughts?
I love this episode. It's a lot of fun, especially like you said, it's the only episode with Phil Harris. I try to think back to like when I was first into Jack Benny and I listened to so many radio shows, and then I saw a photograph of Phil Harris for the first time, and I was like, this is not right. Like, it's not how I imagined him, and I don't even know how I imagined him. But it took like for a while. I was like, I cannot look at it. But at this point, I've gotten used to seeing Phil Harris and what he actually looks like. So I can imagine, if it's the first time you've ever seen Phil Harris, you may be like, well, this is not what I imagined from the radio show. But I thought it was a lot of fun. I wondered if I kind of feel like his sort of like antsiness going back and forth was planned, but it just seemed so natural. Like, he and there's sort of like some cross talking, some interrupting and that sort of thing, which made it a lot of fun, and you could tell that they were having fun.
Yes.
So that was my favorite part, just seeing Phil Harris. And then they get to the point where they raise the curtain, and there's his old band with all of the names that we remember from the radio show, and we get to see their faces, and he interacts with them, and he even does his his song. I thought that was lots of fun. The bit where Jack Benny is criticizing his song, "That's What I Like About the South," is something that I had just heard on the radio show. So it's a recycled bit. I have to admit, the radio version is a lot smoother and sort of easier to follow as far as the bit where he's saying what is do diddy or whatever. And the payoff with Rochester at the end, I feel like it didn't quite work here on the television show. But I mean, those are just small little.
Did they do the same payoff in the radio show? I can't remember.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that bit came straight across, even the Rochester bit. Okay. I couldn't remember. I know they did it in radio. I just couldn't quite remember.
I almost feel like they could have dropped the script altogether and just said, okay, go for it. And it would have been just fun. Yeah.
That's because it made me think of perhaps this is what it was like when they did camp shows, and he could be so running around the stage prancing in a kind of post Elvis era, sort of reaching out to the young people, and he's going to be Buddy Holly, he's going to be Chuck Berry, prancing around the
I just, and you know, the introduction is so great where you see Jack Benny and he's really giving a sincere introduction of, and recognizing the fact that Phil Harris had been with him for so long. Whereas, you know, in the beginning of the TV series, it's like they just dropped him and forgot about him. So I thought that was nice. And then to have him come out and interrupt him and do his usual like bragging, it was so fun. That was great.
Yeah, and to see that where he comes out and the audience goes crazy and you can't hear what he's saying for a few seconds because it's so loud, which is exactly what would happen on the radio show. So it was just neat to experience that in person.
I take it this was a live episode because I was really struck. This is October 1958, and yet the stage, the onstage Jack Benny, you know, where Jack and Rochester are interacting in the backstage in his dressing room. It looks like circa 1950 television.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, it looked really cheesy and very plain.
All the live shows kind of look like that for the whole run of the series, pretty much. They never really got, ooh, I can't really tell whether it's live or filmed. It's pretty obvious.
Indeed, it was a live show. So, but
that's what.
And we'll mention that cute gag about Rochester playing the violin beautifully. It was a nice little.
That was great. That was.
I love that too.
And the very first thing that I noticed as the episode started was that Don Wilson wasn't there, because you're used to hearing his voice introducing the Jack Benny program, and I was like, oh, what's happening? Don Wilson's not there. Did they get a new announcer? Is it because it's, you know, late 50s or whatever? And then they explain it during the episode, and that leads into that commercial.
Right. No.
And I'll have to someday go back and find the script to this show, because when Jack comes out and he says, this is my 9th year on television. But to be the 9th year in 1958, he is counting that local appearance he made in Los Angeles at the opening of KTLA or whatever the first CBS station was out there. And that show was not a big success, at least according to reviews of the time. But the fact that, as I said, that he'd be counting that as his first appearance on television instead of October 1950. So,
Right. Wow. Well, one thing it pointed out to me that is just how robbed we were that Phil didn't do more. I mean, oh my gosh, the fact that his wife was begging him, everyone wanted him to take his show and bring it to television. And it would have been fabulous. I really think his show would have been considered up there with I Love Lucy and Jack and, Gunsmoke and Perry Mason to be one of the big highlights of the 1950s, because I just can't imagine it flopping. I mean, he's like, oh, there's too many family shows. There's no family shows like his show on. There wasn't. I mean, Ozzie and Harriet was completely different. It focused on the kid. His show never focused on the kids. The kids were there, but it was really him and Remley and Elliot Lewis playing Remley anyway. And I just think it's a shame. It's a shame that he didn't do that. And then the other person I've been watching this week a lot was Bing Crosby and listening and things. And I think the same thing. I think both he and Bing were absolutely adamant. We are not going to go to television. Television's a lesser art form. We do films, we do radio, we don't do television. And they basically had to bribe him to do one episode in 1954 of his kind of taking his radio show and doing one episode for television. But when his show, both of their shows left the exact same year, in 1954, they were done. By 55, they could have just swung right over and started doing television, done their shows for 5 years, did it from 55 to 60, and those shows would still be remembered, and we'd be seeing some of them today. It's just a shame because they're both such great entertainers. But it is what it is. And so we get a little bit of Phil here and a little bit of Phil there, and him doing guest shots on various people's shows. Dean Martin's show, especially, he did a few of them. But I would have loved to have a regular Phil show. It would have been really nice, but or have Phil as a regular on Jack's show. I mean, that would have been
Yeah,
lovely
that
too. If even in '58, if they started bringing him across and he was on even for like 2 or 3 seasons, that he was a regular, or at least as regular as Dennis was, right? Would have been really nice, but it was not to be. So this is what we get, and I'm so glad we have it. I'm so glad it exists. This is fabulous. I'm so glad that it came out. Um, it astounds me how we keep on getting in drips and drabs these missing episodes. And I probably this year, the last couple of years, maybe 5 more have come out that we've been able to get, and hopefully it just keeps happening, and we get more and more, and that would be lovely. I was talking before we got on here that some of these seasons we're looking at, I think season 6 or season 7, I can't remember, of the Jack Benny show. There are like 16 episodes, and we have 15 of the 16 that are available. So that's really nice. I mean, the first 2 years of Jack, we have one episode. They have the first episode of the first season and the first episode of the second season, and that's it. We're missing the entire rest of the season. They exist. I mean, all these episodes on Jack Benny exist somewhere. They're all available. They're all out there. But it's just they're locked up where we can't get to them very well, or you have to make it a special appointment to go see them and that kind of thing. And it's just that's too bad. But certainly we have the vast majority of the episodes that we can get to, which is nice. Which is great, especially the later seasons. But anyway, so enjoy this great episode with Phil Harris. Anybody else have anything else they want to throw out there on this one? Are we good?
I love this episode. I just want to mention one little moment, because they always say Jack Benny's not a good ad-libber, but whenever he does a little ad-lib, I always love it. At one point he puts on his glasses and he's like, oh, there's an audience. Just like little things like that. I thought that was a fun little moment.
That and it probably wasn't ad-libbed. That's the beauty though of how great of an actor he is, though. It's hard to tell when he's ad-libbing and not ad-libbing. The whole
That's
thing
right.
with Phil continuing to kind of dance around him, and Jack having to spin around to try and engage with Phil while he's on one side of him and then the other side. I mean, that is just fun to watch. It is fun to watch them together. Like you said, it's so fun to have him interact with his band, call out members of the band. Some members we didn't even know, right? He's calls out certain members of the band that he knows because they were in the band, and that's nice. And then he does mention, of course, spends more time on the ones that we do know. It was really nice to see. He had trouble like recognizing Rembley. There was a thing about Rembley, and I was going, is that a play on the fact that he had Elliot Lewis being Rembley for so long?
Oh, I wonder.
But then they say it's a different reason. But it's just kind of funny how that plays up, because immediately if you've listened to the radio show, you're like, oh, that's because it's the real Rembley instead of Elliot Lewis. But yeah. Great episode. So we'll let that go and have people enjoy it, and we'll see you folks next time. And hopefully we find some more lost episodes. And I pressed the wrong button. It's okay. We'll figure this out. There we go.